guys, welcome back. I'm going to give it a second for some people to join. And I am waiting on my guests to be able to link in. So give me just 1 second. While we wait, it is Meet the Warrior Day. We're going to highlight a pretty awesome woman. Her name is Elizabeth. I'm going to give her a second so that she can connect. And then we're going to go into a super fun Meet the Warrior interview. So go ahead, you have some time to make some tea and get a comfy seat and just pull up a chair. Hey, Elizabeth is here. So without further ado, we are going to hear from Elizabeth, and I'm super excited. Hi, Elizabeth. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do we have any other people here?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Anybody else here?
Yes, I do have people here.
Sorry, my dog. Frida, come and lay down, honey.
I do have some people here. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I am super excited to share your story. My goal is to change the narrative of how people see chronic illness. And so I do that by one story at a time. And so without further ado, welcome to the hot seat with Andy. We are just hanging out. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am 58 years old. Well, almost 58. And I live near Seattle, Washington. I have quite an extensive educational history. I grew up on a farm in Eastern Washington, and I moved to Seattle to pursue my education, which wasn't really very accessible by me. My father actually wouldn't sign my financial aid papers so I could go to school. So I came from a pretty dysfunctional growing up. My father was an alcoholic. And let's see, I had a baby a little too young when I was trying to finish my education, so that disrupted a lot of things. And I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia right after my child was born. But the reality is that I probably had it since I was a child.
Okay.
So I don't know what else you want to know.
Now that you've given us like an overall overview of you, can you tell us what it's like? Tell me a little bit about what it's like for you living with fibromyalgia.
Well, when I was first diagnosed, it was just sort of a realization of, oh, okay, that's why my body hurts so much. But it was manageable. It was very manageable. I realized that that's probably why I wasn't as active as a child and a teen. It was difficult for me, and I put on a lot of weight because of it. Even though I wanted to be active, it was just very hard for me. And and I continued to gain a lot of weight despite trying to exercise and swim and do the things that were more comfortable for me. I wasn't very good at my nutrition, but mostly I was a big sugar eater, and that was what brought on a lot of the weight. And I ended up, because I had a lot of other complications. I was in 2 car accidents in 1 week. Major car accidents, and my body was devastated for more than a year. After that, I didn't have any broken bones, but just everything was just wrong about my body after that. It took a very long time. And that was when I realized that rest was never going to heal the pain. After you're injured, you think, if I just rest, it's going to feel better. And that just doesn't happen with fibromyalgia. It doesn't happen. And so you just, I started exercising and biking. I was a bicyclist and I was swimming. And then my feet started to give out. I developed chronic plantar fasciitis, and I started having knee problems. So then I started putting on more and more weight, and I ended up being about 340 pounds, and I had gastric bypass surgery
Okay.
because exercise was so hard for me, and it was just really difficult. So they, my doctors basically said, this isn't going to change the underlying condition. And I said, I understand, but it should make my life easier.
Right.
And then uh, in 2018, my partner and I moved to Thailand for 6 months.
Hmm.
And I got really sick. They don't know what it was. They've never discovered what it was, despite sending medical tests to the Mayo Clinic and the CDC. They don't really know what happened.
Hmm.
But because I'd had the gastric bypass surgery, it was gastrointestinal illness, and I
Hmm.
lost severe amounts of weight,
Yeah.
and a lot of I had some brain damage. I suffered delusions for several months. I have no memory for several months. I was in the hospital for several months. I had a heart attack, seizures. And the protein deficiency caused some brain damage. I also had a stroke, which caused some of it, and so I have short-term memory loss now as well. So if I sound like I'm not understanding you, I just don't remember what you said because I'm trying to concentrate.
Oh, no, no, no. Stop me or slow me down if you need to. It's not a problem. So,
So living with fibromyalgia wouldn't have been so hard had I not had the other complicating traumatic things that happened in my body.
do you?
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and that's why now my pain and my issues are so much more severe than most people who have fibromyalgia.
Yeah. After your gastric bypass surgery, did your body? How did your body deal with recovery with the fibro?
I I surgeries, broken bones, I recover really fast.
Okay.
Not a problem. I had a motorcycle accident several years after the two car accidents, broke my femur. It was hard to recover, but you know, I was on top of it. I was riding a motorcycle again in about 5 months after that. So I like doing things for myself. I don't like being dependent. So when I am dependent, it really bothers me.
Yeah.
And I, chronic pain, that's one thing I can push through it if I have to, but having a broken bone and not being able to use your hand or your leg is a different situation.
Yeah. What does your support system look like?
Um, well, I don't because of the dysfunctional nature of my family, there are a few issues why I don't have a lot of people around me from my family or anybody actually. Two major things. I'm a lesbian and my family are very conservative politically. And that's actually the biggest thing. It's not so much me being a lesbian, it's that I'm not a conservative one.
Okay.
So they have a lot of hatred. And this started way before the current sort of realm of hatred in our political society.
Yeah.
And there's just there's just a lot of dysfunction. And I had to detach from that. It was very destructive for
Right.
me. And I was what you would call a truth teller uh, in a dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
I would say what's in front of me. I wouldn't hide. I wouldn't play the games. And so people were like, "We don't like you."
Yeah.
So that's kind of me.
Okay. Um,
I have a partner right now, and that's who I
okay.
have in my life.
And is your partner very supportive?
She is.
Yeah.
We've had some struggles, as all people do.
Yeah.
But what's part of the problem with having a chronic illness, as you probably know, Andy, is that when you're with a partner, especially if you can't work full time and make a lucrative way of life, they
Yeah.
have a lot of resentment about it.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of resentment about all the health care that you need, all the consideration that you need. And that was sort of a point of of plateau for our relationship. Was we got to that place where my partner was a little upset because things were not more equal, and I just screamed and I said, "Don't you realize things are never going to be equal in this relationship? And if you're not going to be able to accept that, we should not be together, because I can never give as much as you can give financially and physically to this relationship as far as, doing work around the house or whatever. I just am not going to be able to meet that equality with you.
Right.
And when she came to realize that, she decided she still wanted to be with me and that she would accept that and be okay with it. And sometimes I think it's a little different in same-sex relationships. In male-female relationships, frequently a man thinks, "Okay, I always have to protect my wife," and there's that sort of gender stereotype of, "I will do more, I will take care of her." But in same-sex relationships, you don't really have that dynamic. And
Right.
so it can actually be problematic if you've got one partner that's got more issues and needs a little more nurture in terms of financially or physical work around your home. And
Yeah.
so, uh, if that's accepted, then it can go easier. But I don't think the disabled partner should say, "I expect that," but they have to have a partner that's understanding that it's probably going to be that way, regardless of the person's initiative. They're always
Right.
gonna have setbacks, and, you have to decide if that's gonna be acceptable for you.
Right. So some chronic and iconic warriors struggle with mental health. Have you struggled with mental health in regards to your diagnosis? And
Yes, yeah, definitely. I struggled with a lot of depression even in my teen years.
mhm,
Uh, I turned 18 the last year of high school, and I missed a lot of school my senior year of high school. Because I could write my own absence notes because I was 18 years old.
mhm,
So I just stayed home and slept most of my senior year of high school. But then when I went to college, things just changed for me quite a bit. And there were a lot of ups and downs, and there were a lot of catastrophe times for me. Not all of it having to do with being disabled, but I didn't have a support system for my life. And anybody that doesn't have that struggles, you
yeah,
know, in launching their lives. So I had several, you know, things that I had to go through. I left home. I was trying to finish college. I had a child too early when I was 23. We suffered a lot of financial hardship because I wasn't somebody that could just keep rushing and going
yeah,
to make everything okay for us. And the lack of being able to rise up physically leads to a lot of depression and a lot of inability to feel like you can cope with life.
yeah. Okay.
So
What?
my
Um,
my daughter and I actually became homeless at one point, so it was pretty severe.
yeah. I'm glad that you guys aren't homeless now.
Thank you.
There was a silver lining. Um, how would you say when you have those low days, you overcome your struggles of being depressed?
How would I say what exactly?
So if you're having like one of those bad days emotionally, what kind of things do you do to make it better for you?
I don't think I've gotten to a place where I have a solution.
Mhm.
Um, I think I have good choices and bad choices when that happens. I don't have like right now I've been searching for a new mental health therapist for over a year, so I don't have anybody,
Okay.
and that's been a real struggle. My main discouragements come from interacting with my healthcare people.
Yeah.
My regular life is not too stressful, but when I have to deal with trying to get what I need for my physical well-being, it's a real struggle. Sometimes I'll just sit down and have a drink, or um, frequently I will go to bed and try to sleep because otherwise I just cycle up and I catastrophize and I make things worse for myself.
Yeah.
Uh, if I don't just pull back and take a minute for myself. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't use alcohol to cope with life or pain
Yeah.
in general, but sometimes just sitting down and having a drink or even just having a couple of tokes on a joint
Yeah.
will just pull you back from the cycle that you're going on in your head for a minute and say, "Okay, we're gonna just pull back
Yeah.
and take a minute for ourselves." Um, I get I can get very upset when I'm on the phone with caregivers, and I used to get really angry with them verbally, just say, "Why are you doing this?" and go after them. But what I do now is I just say, "I need to go. Thank you."
Yeah.
And I pull myself back from it and I give myself a minute to process whatever it is I need to process because
Yeah.
it's just too much for me sometimes.
What kind of signs does your body give you that says, "Hey, Elizabeth, slow down"?
Well, it's not even so much a sign. My body just stops working.
Yeah.
I mean, it will just tell me I cannot bend over one more time to pick up a thing off the floor.
Yeah.
I cannot drive anymore. I'm going to fall asleep. So it's usually because I'm pushing myself and I'm pushing myself, and my body just says, "We can't do this anymore. We're done. You try to move, we're going to fall down. If you
Yeah.
keep driving, we're going to fall asleep. So just stop."
Can
Um,
you Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, it's okay. And part of the reason that happens is because I am determined to get done the things I want to get done, and I
Mhm.
have a hard time just letting it go. Um, And there are things I let go, but some of the stuff I just have a real hard time with it
Yeah.
because I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I like to get it done. I like to have it done properly. I want it done the way I want it done.
Yeah. Um, can you describe what a fibro flare feels like to you?
The way that I have described it to other people is it feels like all of my nerves are flayed. Like all of the nerves have whatever protective covering they've got on them is just scraped off.
Mm,
So
okay. So, what does healthy look like for you now?
healthy. Is it okay if I say I don't know?
Yes.
Because I don't know.
Okay. What would you like healthy to look like?
Um, I would like to be able to move around like a normal person every
Yeah.
day. Get up without squealing, get up without worrying about the headache I'm gonna have, not having to worry about keeping warm all the time because if I'm cold, I'm very uncomfortable and I'm very much in pain.
Yeah.
Um, Constantly having to attend to my body's every need. I hate that. Uh, so it would be nice to be able to just let it go. Just be able to be free floating and not concerned about taking this many pills every 4 hours and,
Yeah.
um, how many doctor's appointments do I have this week, and how much exercise do I have to get in, and what foods do I need to make sure I don't or do eat, and
Have
all of
you had to deal with providers alluding to it all being in your head?
Well, I believe that a lot of doctors, and I tend to have some feelings about this that are positive and negative, tend to believe that there's a mind body connection.
Hmm.
And to a degree, I agree. I have never had any doctors dismiss me, however. I
Okay.
have been one of the very fortunate people. The very first time I went in to see somebody about a pain in my shoulder, cervical strain in my shoulder, an orthopedic surgeon sent me right to a rheumatologist, and the rheumatologist diagnosed me. And
Okay.
that was in 1988.
Okay.
So I was diagnosed really early on compared to most people. I was
Yeah.
not sent to millions of people to get care. And I really did not ever have any medical providers say that I wasn't experiencing what I was experiencing. What I have experienced is them not being able to do anything about it.
Right.
But nobody has ever said we are skeptical
Okay.
about your symptoms. So
What
that
type?
has not happened.
Oh, okay. What types of things do you like to do? I saw that you had some gardening, maybe.
Yes. I grew up on a farm and I'm an avid gardener.
Hmm.
That's one of my major outdoor things I love to do. I can't really. like do a lot of walking or do a lot of other things. I do get pretty physically active in like the yard care, and right now we're tearing out invasive blackberries around our house, and that's extremely a lot of work.
Yeah.
And on those days, I pretty much give my body the whole once over for that. And I did that on Sunday, so I'm still suffering the next 2 days from that. But once the summer is here and I don't have like a seasonal affective depression in the summer, during the wintertime, because you're from the East Coast in Virginia, you don't really know. Here in the Seattle area, people get depressed during the winter because we don't see the sun hardly at all.
Yeah.
And so once we get the sunlight of the spring and summer, the moods rise for everybody here, and including me. And any depression that I might be having, I definitely get out of. And so it does help the physical activity quite a bit.
Cool. Do you know what you want to grow this season?
I'm growing peas, and radishes, tomatoes, parsnips, carrots, and a bunch of herbs, and some zucchini.
Okay. Do you like to cook?
Well, I am a chef. You
Okay, I
probably
thought I saw that on your profile. Is that one of the things
culinary school. I went to culinary school.
Awesome fun fact.
Pardon me?
So that's an awesome fun fact.
Yeah, I mean, it was really unexpected. After this really severe illness I had in Thailand, I sort of watched Top Chef for like 10 seasons of it and decided that's what I love to do. After all the education I'd had and all the stuff I'd done in writing and law and everything, I was like, you know what? I really just want to cook.
Yeah.
And so I went to culinary school with the idea that I would open my own cafe, but financially, I have no means to do that at this point. And so for a little while, I was working as a personal chef, which was really fit me really well. But
Mhm.
the guy I was working for, he was kind of a flake, and it was difficult for me to work with him. And so I decided to end that. But also, my body, I had quit culinary school in the middle of culinary school because I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
I pretty much got the sort of classes that I needed. A lot of the other stuff was more high end that I didn't really need to study. I needed to learn more about how commercial kitchens worked and all of
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And so that I had done that already. So yeah, at some point when I'm feeling a bit better, I may try to work as a personal chef again. But there are dreams of still having my own cafe at some point. It'll
Yeah.
be a small operation, but right now I'm developing my YouTube channel, which is called The Fibro Chef, Elizabeth the Fibro Chef. And I only have a few videos on there so far, but I'm working on editing some more, and we'll be getting some more up soon.
Okay. And it's called one more time.
Elizabeth the Fibro Chef.
You guys, if you're watching, go subscribe to Elizabeth the Fibro Chef.
You can see
So
pictures of my garden.
yay. So
It's
the
not growing yet, but you can still see pictures of it.
last question is, if you could, what would you want anybody to know about your condition?
Um, that it's severe and it changes the internal function of who you are, and it makes you less of a person. It makes you less of the person you want to be, not in other people's eyes.
Right.
And that we are doing the best we can, and we need more research and we need more help.
Okay. So now I would like to play a quick game of this or that. If I am speaking too fast for you, let me know and I'll slow it down. Beach or forest?
Beach.
City streets or country trails?
Both.
Comedy or romance?
Comedy.
Flying or driving?
Flying or driving?
Hmm.
Driving.
Fruits or vegetables?
Fruits.
Horror or comedy?
Horror comedy. It's hard for me, either one of those.
Oceans or mountains?
Oceans.
Calling or texting?
Calling.
Intense pain for 10 minutes or dull pain all day.
Intense pain for 10 minutes.
Ketchup or ranch?
Ketchup.
The controversial question: mayonnaise or Miracle Whip?
Mayonnaise.
Awesome.
Made by me from scratch.
Yum. So that was my last question. Does anybody watching have any questions for Elizabeth?
You can ask
Okay,
me anything.
she said you can ask her anything. Um, okay, we have a question. We're waiting. Sydney would like to know, what's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh boy. I I make my breakfast every day, which I is very simple, which is toasted bread, fried eggs, and ham. That's what I have every day for breakfast. I like my eggs to be perfect. I put them in there delicately, watch them cook, make sure they're perfect, sunny side up onto a plate and beautiful. I don't have a favorite thing. I just like to cook. I like to do my recipes. I like things to be perfect, and that's what I enjoy about it. So there's not any one thing. It's the accomplishment of finishing that I enjoy.
Do you make your own bread?
I do. Yes.
Awesome.
I'm my biggest baking things are my muffins are my one of my biggest. People like them better than any bakery muffin they've ever tasted. My biscuits,
Hmm.
um, I make my biscuits are super tall. Uh, And I do make sourdough bread. I'm not in a sourdough mood these last few months, but I have done that. My mom taught me to bake bread from when I was very young, and so just about anything. I like to make cakes, but I can't really eat them. After the gastric bypass surgery, I had I don't eat much sugar, so when I do bake things with sugar in them, I just give them away. So that's fun, but I don't make them to eat.
Janet would like to know, when you got the gastric bypass, did it help with any of your pain?
No, it didn't. It just made it easier for my body to move because I was so heavy. I
Mm,
have a lot of foot pain. One of my main issues is foot pain, and so having less weight was really helpful.
okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Elizabeth, thank you so much for spending some time and spilling the tea with me.
You're
Um,
welcome. Honey.
it has been a pleasure to share your story. And if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And you guys remember, if it's got to be chronic, at least be iconic. Sending you guys love. Bye, Elizabeth.
Bye.